Okay, so we're going to quickly demo how we should load our new hoses on both the engine double stack trays and the quint and spare truck single stack trays. So we'll start with the engine first, and we'll simulate as if we were to connect midpoint in the tray, which is common. We want to come forward first. And the first one, we just want to bite right at the end of the tray, and we'll run it all the way back. And then after that first bite, we're going to leave what we call the dump bite. And we want a good ear, a good 8 inches or so that's easy to grab onto. And we leave that right after the first one. So that's a dump bite that allows us to clear the bed as we're advancing hose. From there, we just continue on with the flat load. One thing we should really think about doing is offsetting our bites by a good couple inches, especially with this new hose, because it's really stiff and rigid until it gets used, washed, hung and stuff. Again, it's making a big kind of bend. So offsetting a couple inches will allow us to keep our loads at a lower height. So we'll continue on. So once we make the connection to our second length, we'll just continue on, and at this point we want to add the second bite, and this is called our midpoint bite. So it's midway of our first 100-foot stack, and when deploying we'll grab both of these. So again, on your first bite forward on your second length, you'll put another dog ear, and then you'll just continue your flat load all the way up to finish that first 100 feet. So on the other side of the bed, there will be no bites because these loads need to be deployed off a single side, which will be alternating on our trucks. So again, no ears on the other side. It's only to be deployed off one side. And we've only used 2 different color hoses, or soon to be 3, just to illustrate the different sections of the hose load. So once you've connected your new Elkhart nozzle, there's no gallonage selection to be made. It's already preset at 150. It is a good idea to spin it all the way to the right and keep it on straight stream, and so it remains in that way. Also, something we're trying to do is put it upside down so that the bail is down, and it allows a nice handhold for deployment just by lifting up and grabbing that. It just makes it easier for the deployment. So from this point on, we're just going to continue flat loading all the way up for the second 100-foot section, again offsetting our bites as we go. And finally, you just take the 2 pieces from your first 100 and your second 100, join those at the top, and just lay it down. It's a little stiff right now until this hose loosens up, but it should seat just fine. And that is your double wide tray load. So now we'll take a quick look at the single stack trays that represent, our spares and our quints. One thing about these is we don't have as much total height with these, because this is double stack around 16 inches high. Most of these are around 19. So our old 1 3/4 hose is going to go to the stations that have the quints and the spares because it fits in the beds easier. The new hose will be, again, used only on the new engines. And still, until this stuff breaks down and flattens out, it's got to be used for those trucks. So again, we start in the middle, we make our connection, and we run the first direction forward, right to the edge of the bed, and then continue on. And we put our first dog ear, if you will, about 8 inches out, and that again is our dump bite. And we'll continue on for the next 50 feet or so. So at this point, we've made our connection to our next 50 feet, and that's the point when we run our next dog ear, and that is our midpoint bite, signaling halfway through our first 100-foot section. And here with the end of that first 100-foot section, you'll just drape it over the back, and it will loop over and connect on top of the Minuteman section afterwards. So just as before, you'll adjust the pattern all the way to the right to straight stream, turn the nozzle upside down so the handle can be grabbed for deployment, and just start loading your last 100 feet, again offsetting the bites. So finally, when we have that last section loaded, we pull up the tail from that first 100 foot section and just make the connection. And that's it. It's the same load, it's just configured different with the single stack tray.